So becoming a parent is a process of becoming a parent.
Right.
You don't just become a parent by giving birth to a child one fine day, right? You're
Yeah.
evolving as a parent over the time.
Also, like, I feel as adults are very quick to judge the child, or if they are, like, if they are falling off, for example, they have climbed a stable and they're about to fall, which is obvious, right? For our understanding it is very obvious. For the kid, probably it is not something that he has done before, so he has not experienced that kind of thing before. So parents are very quick at judging and stopping kids from even experiencing sometimes, in order to protect them. Of course, they don't have any wrong intentions, but I feel that sometimes we also need to let the child be, let them explore themselves, or let them make their own mistakes. So, like, how do we balance this? Like, what a parent can do in, like, daily life?
I feel, yes, you're very right. In terms of intention is to protect the child, right? But with the intention to protect the child, are we becoming too overprotective? Is what we all have to check. We are not going to be there forever to protect the child, which also means he or she has to learn to fall at times and also get up.
Right.
Right? I have to क्या कहते हैं उसको, I have to tend to my own wounds, right? I cannot expect that my parents will be with me forever.
Right.
To do that, what I generally feel is, instead of operating from insecurity, we can work as a scaffolding for the child. So if you see, when a building or a society goes for maintenance, there's a scaffolding that is
Right.
set for the building so that it doesn't fall and damage things. So can we work as a scaffolding rather than constantly stopping the child from doing things?
Because I think that also creates a fear
Correct.
of making a right decision for their life.
Correct.
And they're then constantly dependent on the parent or probably someone else for making decisions of their life when they grow up.
Correct. So if you feel that something is not going to be very threatening or harming for the child, you can let the child be. So I think we have to make a conscious choice as to where to let go and where to hold the reins.
Right.
Right? And I think this is all throughout the childhood till the child becomes, say, 16, 17. It's not just with regards to ki the child is, say, 3, 4, 5, 6 year old, only then you will have to do this. No. Eventually, throughout, your and my responsibility is, as a parent, is to make the child capable, not dependent on me.
Right.
If I make someone dependent on me, they get lost when I don't exist. So they need to be capable enough to figure things out on their own. So I remember when I was a kid, both of my parents were working, right? So I grew up in a babysitting where I had to fold my clothes. I had to watch out for myself. I had to, pack my tiffin box when I was done with the
Right.
lunch. These are very small things. These are not very big things. But what happens is, when I was with those 10, 15 kids around me, when my parents are not there, which also means that I have to learn to take care of myself. So back then I used to feel, अरे बाकी के लोगों की मम्मी घर पे होती है. Why is not my mother at home? I also want her to pick me up from the school and take me back home. But if I look back right now, I feel that made me independent. Me traveling by school bus, me getting down at my stop, my understanding that when the school leaves, I have to be in the bus by specific time. I cannot just loiter around. because the school bus will leave and then I will be left behind. So this is decision making, right? I have to tell certain people that I'm okay with this, I'm not okay with this, I have to choose. The same thing is with when I go to my babysitting, I have to deal with people around me. Some kids are of my age, some are older than me. I also have to deal with the adults who are running the show, right?
Yeah.
So that makes you capable eventually to make your own decisions. So the fall is not always physical.
Yeah.
The fall most of the times is emotional. You get emotionally bruised more than you and me getting physically bruised. If you look back at your childhood, tell me how many times you remember that you've broken your leg or you've broken your hand. It's
very common. It used to be very common, and still I remembered, like, my childhood was a mix of, both the things. I'm not saying it was perfect, and sometimes parents would, let me be, and then there are times where I was told not to do certain things, and then the idea of altogether becoming a good girl sort of stayed with me. And of course, the rewinding or the undoing of all those things takes time. But coming to my next question, like, as parents cannot be perfect, right? No one can be perfect, and no matter what we do, something or the other might, end up becoming the thing in a child's mind when they grow up to become an adult. So without taking the pressure of always being perfect parent, how do we consciously self-correct ourselves as a parent and still not be guilty of not doing enough? Because that parent guilt is always there, right?
correct. I feel, so I say this to so many parents who come up to, I say this to kids also. So if a parent would have got a manual of how to raise you, I'm sure they would have followed every comma, every full stop, every asterisk in it. But that is not how it works, right? So my parents had their childhood. They learned certain things in a certain way. High chances they will also implement certain things a certain way because that is how they have understood, right? The same goes with tomorrow. If you and me become a parent, we are going to implement certain things that we have been taught as a child from our parents. We are going to also forward it to our kids.
Right.
Fair. So there is no such thing as right parenting. We all have to accept that there is nothing called as a perfect parent or I have raised my child in the best way. No. Eventually, every kid is going to feel that I wanted this as a kid, you did not provide me this as a parent. So some kids might have more attentional needs, less emotional needs. Some kids will have more emotional needs. Some kids will have more physical needs.
Right.
So every person is different. So as a parent, even we are different. Can we be more open to change? That is the question. So am I okay to do mistakes as a parent? Am I okay to accept the fact that as a parent that I am also going to mess up sometimes and it's okay? It's not mandatory to raise a perfect child, right? Everyone has their own journey. You and me also had our own journey. We also had our own downfalls. That is not how it works. We became who we are not because how our parents raised us. It's a combination, right? A certain part was played by them, a certain part was played by us.
Right.
So it's an interaction. It's a two-way process. It's not a one-way thing. I am going to instruct my child and then he is a product of my
Upbringing.
instructions. That is not how it works. It's a two-way process, which means it's a two-way lane. I say something, that samne wala is going to reciprocate in a certain way. Then I have to think, okay, is this the right way to make the person understand?
You self-correct and then,
So if I see 10 people as a therapist, maybe 10 different people have similar concerns. I cannot say the same thing to 10 people in the same manner.
Of course not.
I have to mold my ways in which I convey the same thing to 10 different people.
Right.
So which also means that I need to be open to mold, to rectify, to reanalyze, to introspect, okay, this is not working. So then what is it that could work? So in our society, so I was listening to someone a few days ago, the person said ki back when we were kids, you know, spankings were very
Common.
that was not trauma for us.
Yeah.
Because everyone had that.
True.
But if you see kids who are right now, you spanking them is going to be trauma for them because 10 other kids are not going through the same.
Yeah.
So which also means that I am suffering. So we have to mold, which means that is not going to work right now.
So even if we are trying to mold the kid, by default it is a reaction for ourselves as well, and we are also getting molded shaped at the same time.
Correct. So becoming a parent is a process of becoming a parent.
Right.
You don't just become a parent by giving birth to a child one fine day, right? You're evolving as a parent over the time, which also means the child is growing up and you're also becoming a parent every single day. If you're able to adapt to this, maybe there is less guilt. And like I said, every child is going to have complaints. Maybe 10 years down the line, they feel okay. Like I said, I used to feel my mother should have been at home. So that was a complaint back then. I used to cry, why are you going to office? Now when I look back, I have a different perspective because I'm in a different age, because I feel okay, that was right at that time. But as a child, I feel it is wrong. So if my mother would have been in guilt and she would have felt, then it would have been a big loss for me also as a child.